So a wonderfully thick and textured stitch that's great for pot holders, or I have here a handbag that I've made, and it, because of its thickness, holds its structure very well. What I also love about the thermal stitch is that the stitches are lined up, so it lends itself to being creative with all sorts of different designs. So let's get started. For this one, I have done a foundation double crochet row. It's a little bit loose, and I apologize for that, but I'll show you how to get started. So I have chained one at the end of my foundation row, and then this very first row can be a bit tricky, but don't be put out. The same rule applies. You're finding the back loop of the row that you are currently working on, and then you're finding the corresponding loop from the row before, and that is what you're going to crochet into every time. So this first row, bear with it, it's a little bit awkward to find, but so I'm finding that back loop and then the corresponding loop from the row before. I'm going to do this all the way across, so it's a bit tricky to see, but you've got your two loops there. This is the back loop, and then I'm going to that front loop or corresponding loop, and you're doing that all the way across. As you progress, usually by the third row, it's ever so easy to find those corresponding loops. With this foundation double crochet, it can be tempting to want to sort of scoop up this loop right here. Try not to do that if you can. What you want is that first loop and then all the way across to the front loop of the row before. So if I were to hold my work this way, you can see this becomes the front loop of the row before. So it's not that bit there, it's that there that you're going into. So this back loop and then into that loop all the way across. Now, whether you are doing the thermal stitch in the round or just in rows, it always involves a chain one before you start the next row. So in this instance, I've just got a straight, I'm not going in the round, and I'll show you what we do. We get to the end, we mustn't forget that very last stitch, right? Chain one, and then obviously turn your work. Now this is where it becomes a little bit easier. You're not turning it completely so that you're now working here. You're going to turn it almost on its side so that you can then find those corresponding loops. So I've chained one, and then I'm going to insert into the very first and find that corresponding loop, which is right there. And double crochet. And then as I'm going, you can see the loops line up. So you've got all your corresponding loops, and that's what you're going to go into. Remember, back loop, front loop. So back loop, front loop. And if you can say that to yourself repeatedly, it becomes easier. And also how you hold your work. So remember, you're not turning it completely, but almost holding it on its side. And that's how you do the thermal stitch. And again, you can see it's becoming easier and easier, those corresponding loops. And the next time when you're turning the work, they'll be even closer still. So it does get easier. Bear with it. And enjoy so many possibilities with the thermal stitch.